Welcome to the Lead Pedal Podcast with your host, Bruce Outridge, where he talks all things trucking. Now let's get rolling.
Hey everybody, how we doing today? Welcome to another edition of the Lead Pedal Podcast. This is episode number 1130, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we can make this industry better. We're going to share some guest information with you as who's coming up. We also got some event updates for you as well. Hey, welcome to December. It's the first day of a new month and the end of the year, so lots of things happening, lots of things changing. And right after this, I'm going to we'll get right into how we can maybe make this industry better. Here we go. Hey folks, you know that Bison raised their rates at the beginning of the year for owner-operators and for company drivers. And I gotta tell you, it has been so successful that they wanted to let you know exactly how much their drivers are making. That's right, they have significantly increased the base rates for their teams. So owner-operator teams can earn up to $360,000 per year. That's right, you heard me say that right, $360,000 per year. Company team drivers can earn up to $120,000 per year per driver. That's right, per driver. That's some big numbers, right? They have a wide variety of Canada-only dedicated team positions available for folks to choose from, and Bison has a steady freight to keep the teams moving. So if you want to significantly increase your base rates, then you want to make sure that you sign up for that. Now, Bison has also increased the base rates for owner-operators. Owner-operators running Canada-only can earn up to $185,000 per year. They have a wide variety of Canada-only positions for owner-operators to choose from, and Bison has a steady freight to keep the owner-operators moving. So where can you learn more about all of these things? I mean, you know, $360,000 for owner-operator teams, $120,000 for company driver teams, and owner-operators running by themselves can earn $185,000 per year. Canada only. Folks, that is incredible. Well, the best place to go is to go to bisondriving.com. And while you're there, while you're talking to the team, would you let them know that you heard about it from the Lead Pedal Podcast? Hey, good luck there. You're going to make some great money working for one of the safest fleets in North America. All right, so let's talk about how we can make things better to get things started right off the bat here. As you know, it's been a tough year for everybody. Business, whether you're in business or not, it's been a tough year. Things are going up across the board. People who even have what we would call fairly good jobs are struggling as well as everybody else. But then there's this other aspect that's happening, which really has been kind of peeving me off lately, to be honest with you. Of just the segregation of our world. Like, I mean, we're actually, our world's getting smaller with social media. That's how it happened. But now I'm finding that it's even getting smaller within industry. And I think we need to stop it. I mean, I just want to stay positive. Yeah, I understand that not everybody's perfect. There's lots of truck drivers that make mistakes. There's lots of drivers that make mistakes. But we're having some real issues in the way things are working as far as road safety is probably one of the big ones. But there's lots of safe carriers out there. So, you know, and what is enforcement doing about it? This is one of the things that we got to talk about. I talked about last month in our blog for the show that, you know, a lot of there's a lot more that drivers have to worry about. Before it was just, going down the road. We had a lot of fun, just get your loads there safely. That was the main thing, on time. Now they got to worry about human trafficking, and you've got to worry about driver ink, and you've got to worry about, all these other things that are not necessarily part of your job, but they kind of impact your job and the way that you do your job. It's funny that you see in the past we started, and I know everybody tells me the same thing. I'm one of these old school truckers, started in the 80s, and people go, well, the industry's changed. Yeah, it's changed, but it hasn't necessarily changed for the better. No matter who you talk to, whether it's being an older driver or an owner of a company or whatever, they're not necessarily saying that it's for the better. If you remember back in the old days, they used to have a lot of, you'd have things like uniforms, right? And professionalism on the road. The trucks may not have been so fancy, but you had professionalism on the road. Then things started getting laxed, and now look where we are. We're in flip-flops and track pants, and our road safety shows that. So if the road safety and all that is reflecting the way we're operating as professionals, then there's a real problem there. Now, there's a lot of companies doing great jobs. I mean, we have a lot of them here on our podcast. There's a lot of them that we know in the industry. Their CVORs speak for that, right? Their CVORs say that they're doing a good job. But for the most part, we're still having challenges in the industry. And this is one of the things that we need to be talking about. So how do you do that? How do you do your part? What is your part? What should you be doing as a driver? Well, from a carrier standpoint, what you really need to be doing is to talk to your team. You need to be educating your drivers on the difference between what's being said out in social media and then what's being said in behind house. There's a couple carriers that are falling into this where on social media they look terrible, but they're winning awards. So what is the real reason? What is the real news? Who should you be listening to? So educating your drivers as to who they're listening to, who that voice of where they can get that trusted information is where you really want to look into that. Because it's not the Wild West, but it seems like we're going towards the Wild West, which is even more of a problem. So staying away from the bad carriers. So from carrier standpoint, educating your drivers, doing all those due diligence things to make sure that you have a good, safe record. Make sure you're monitoring your people, making sure that they're operating safely and not doing some of these crazy things we see on social media. That's your part as a carrier in making a good culture, making them happy. That was one of the things we've talked about over the years and over this last year in a lot of the seminars that I've been part of. So making sure that you've got that information is crucial. And then as a driver, for drivers, first of all, knowing who you're working for. Are you working for one of the safe fleets, or are you really working for someone who's a bad apple? Are you just trying to make as much money as possible? And I understand the whole making money thing, but excuse me, are you really, are you really out there just for you, or are you out there to make things better? Working for a bad carrier is not going to help your career any more than it's going to help anybody else. And understanding your contracts, understanding who you're applying to. We're seeing it on the news now. We're seeing drivers who, they're complaining they're not getting paid. That's because they signed up under Driver Inc. Because they signed up under carriers that are not doing things properly. The road safety of that carrier is a direct reflection on how they're operating, and that's one of the reasons that we have so many problems. They're doing things to make as much money as possible, and at the end of the day they're not even getting paid because they didn't read that they're with a driver, a company that can just they bent a bumper and they take it right off their pay. There's no insurance value there. There's no protection for not being paid. There's no protection for a lot of things. We're going to be talking about some of that stuff. So from a driver standpoint, knowing what you're doing and knowing how you're doing it and why you're doing it is one of the big things. And just make sure you're doing your homework when you're applying for positions. We talk about this all the time, and it's really amazing that so many drivers don't listen, because the information's out there. Whether you listen to us or whether you listen to somebody else, the information is out there, and how you can. But drivers, I see it all the time. I'm at job fairs. They do not do their homework. They have no idea of what carrier. They just look at a banner and go, "Oh, there's a truck there. Do you have a job?" They don't even know what. I got a friend who's with Sirius XM. I sit at his booth. People ask him for trucking jobs all the time. They're a radio station, and I get it all the time. People come to me. I get people who send me applications, and I'm a podcast. People do not do their homework, and this is why they're getting burned. So if you're a new driver just coming in this industry, do your homework. I don't know why we harp on it all the time to people to go to certain carriers, and they think we're just shoveling them. We're shoveling them because we know they'll take care of you. That's one of the reasons we're sending them that way. If everything sounds too good to be true or whatever, then you've got a problem. You've got a real problem in this industry. We're going to do our part, and we do our part all the time by showcasing the good people in this industry. Just in November here, we had Trina Moniz was with us, Kurt McDougall, both with Bison, both award-winning drivers. We got another award-winning driver from the TCA coming out in December. There's lots of people doing good work. You can go to our career profiles and you'll see all kinds of work from good drivers. They're there. They're also working for good companies. They're not working for Driver Inc. companies. They're not working for companies that are pushing them. They're getting paid well. They're getting home time, and they're happy with what they're doing. And that's exactly what you want with a carrier. So if you're getting into the industry, we want you to get in, but we want you to make it better. And that's what we're going to try and do as well here on the podcast. All right. So we're going to right after this, I'm going to tell you about, right after I tell you about Ontario Truck Driving School, I'm going to tell you about some of the guests coming up on our podcast. So stay with us right here. All right, let's talk about Ontario Truck Driving School, one of the premium training facilities in Ontario, 9 locations throughout the province. They've got careers, courses in both heavy equipment and in truck driver training and bus as well if you need it. They can do corporate work and other kinds, so just figure out which one you want and they can certainly help you there. So Ontario Truck Driving School, we highly recommend them, not only because they're a sponsor of our program, but because we work with them. I used to train at their schools. I know their programs very well. There's other schools that are very good, but Ontario Truck Driving School is one of the top schools in Ontario. So they've been around since 1978. So you want to start there, go to otds.com. You can find out all about it. All right, let me tell you what's coming up on our as for guests. All right, what do we got going on? All right, let's just start this. Okay, so in episode number 1, the next episode coming up, where did Union 76 truck stops go? Remember those? That's right, we're going to give you a little history lesson on that. We're going to be talking to Joe Dyzerski. He's with the National Sleep Foundation about drowsy driving. They're having their campaign again this year. This is something that is impacting road safety quite a bit. We're going to talk about what to ask a recruiter in an interview, and we've got a beautiful Pete cab over to show you as our first feature truck, actually our second feature truck for December. We've met up with a driver of the year for TCA, so we're going to be talking with him in episode number 1135, and we're also going to give you some tips from some of those drivers as well. When was their first refrigerated truck? That's right, we're going to tell you about that in our history lesson in December 12th. Keeping drivers happy. This is a presentation we saw over at the Fleet Safety Council, what carriers are doing to try and keep drivers happy, and we're going to share that with you. Maybe you can see if that's something that your company is doing. How do you advance in your position in trucking? That's right. We had a listener ask that question. We're going to share that for you. And we got a couple old school trucks that we saw over at the Rebels Car Show, which are going to be our featured trucks for this month. So in episode 1140, we're going to be talking about that Driver Inc., right? Are you getting your paycheck? We got some things to share with you that might astonish you and might make you think twice about going to work for those kind of companies if that's where you're thinking. Hey, what happened to the cab overs? That's right. We're going to be telling you about that December 19th. And on December 20th, we got Cracker Box Jimmy. This guy is an old school trucker who's also a musician, and we're going to be talking with him about some of the old days and his music and all kinds of stuff. That's a fun one there. That's on December 20th. How stable is your job in trucking? That's right. AI and all this stuff is taking things. We're going to be talking about that. And then we've got another one here. We've got the Christmas in truckers. As we've got one episode that lands right on Christmas Day, so it'll be a lighter episode, but we'll be talking a little bit about Christmas and truckers and how that works. Hey, remember the Coca-Cola Christmas truck? We'll talk about where that came from in our history lesson on Boxing Day there. We'll recap the whole year for you in December 27th on our 1147 recap episode, which is our last big episode before the end of the year. And then what can you do to keep employed for the future? That's right, we'll be talking about that. And then we have another great feature truck. So we've got lots of stuff coming up for the month of December, and I gotta tell you, it's going to be a great year for 2024. Hopefully you're going to survive, and hopefully everybody's going to do what they need to do. Hey, before I get into all of the events, did I tell you about Driver Verified? Now, Driver Verified is a company for online profiles, and as you know, we're getting into 2024. Still using paper resumes? Hey, a lot of people are, but that's probably not what you want to do. You want to look into someone like Driver Bro. So here's what you do. You go to driververified.com, and you can set up a free profile. So it doesn't cost you anything to set up. You set up a profile. It's verified by Driver Verified. It's verified for insurance companies, verified for employers. You can hold your employment records there. You can put your abstracts up there. You can do all of that stuff, awards, anything. You put it up there. Now you have a profile that you can just share with a recruiter or somebody that you're looking for, and it's actually searchable. So if companies are looking for top drivers, they're going to go to that kind of a place to do that. So check out with Driver Verified, when you send a report is how they make their money, but you don't necessarily have to send any reports. You can just set up a profile and let people come to you. So go check it out, driververified.com. Tell them we sent you. They are one of our sponsors of our podcast, and we're looking forward to working with them for 2024 as well. All right, you guys ready to get into some of the events? We got lots of events coming up for 2024, so here we go. The first one that we have is actually actually, for December, there's one on December 12th. The Hamilton Transportation Club is having their Christmas social. If you're in the Hamilton area, go to hamiltontransportationclub.com. You can learn about that. Then again, in February 15th, they're having another social networking event. That's what this club does. They put on about 5 events a year. I'm on the board for that club. So check out some of the networking events they have. TTSAO is having their annual conference February 28th, 29th. That's right. It's a leap year, and they're leaping into 2024. It's going to be at the Lions Head Golf and Country Club, so make sure you check that out as well. Mega Job Fair is back March 2nd at the Pearson Convention Center. That's right, you've seen those. The Trucking Network events.ca is where you can register, find out more. Oh, if I didn't tell you about TTSAO, go to ttsao.com to learn about their information. The Women with Drive event is March 7th at Toronto, Ontario, and that's one put on by truckinghr.com. That's a great event. Been to them in the past. Check them out. Mid-America Truck Show, March 21st, 23rd, Louisville, Kentucky. Go to truckingshow.com. You can get all the information there. Hamilton Niagara Fleet Safety Council is having their spring seminar March 28th. Haven't decided what it's on yet, but it will be a great event. So go to fleetsafetycouncil.com to learn about that. Truck World, that's right, it's back April 18th to 20th, 2024 in Toronto, Ontario at the Truck. Go to trucknews.com. That's probably one of our biggest events for the transportation industry here in Ontario. And National Recruiting and Retention Symposiums, May 1st, May 2nd in Burlington, Ontario. They moved from Lions Head. They're out in Burlington, and you can learn more at transrep.ca. We will be at that one for you as well. Hamilton Transportation Club's having their spring address. This is kind of a update on what's going on in the transportation industry in the Hamilton area. May 2nd, which is looks like it's going to be a Thursday night. Waterfront Banquet Center, Hamilton, Ontario. Hamilton Transportation Club. Large Cars and Guitars Truck Show. That's happening. That's Tony Justice's show. That's May 9th and 11th, 2024, Kodak, Tennessee. Go to largecarsguitars.com. And International Road Check is going to be happening May 16th to 18th, 2024. You have been warned. Don't tell me you didn't know it was coming. You can go to cvsa.org to learn more about that. The Woodstock Truck Show. We heard from Rob the other day, May 24th, 25th, 2024. Woodstock, Ontario. This is going to be a 2-day event. It's their 10th anniversary. That show helps a lot of charities, and there's some special guests playing. I'm not going to say yet because I haven't gotten the official word, but I've gotten a sneak peek idea, so you do not want to miss this one. Go to woodstocktruckshow.ca. PMTC usually has a spring golf tournament. Haven't heard when that's going to be announced yet, but go to pmtc.ca. Ontario Antique Trucks usually has a spring show. Again, we haven't heard any information about that. If you're part of CITT, they're having their conference June 5th to 7th, 2024, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Go to CITT.ca conference. You can learn more. PMTC, this is one we're always at, the PMTC annual conference, Niagara Falls, Ontario, June 18th to 20th, 2024. You can go to pmtc.ca. We will be at that one. That's going to be a good one. Of course, we got the Clifford Truck Show in Clifford, Ontario, July 1st to 3rd. And that is going to be at July 1st, 2024. Great Lakes Truck Club is where you can, greatlakestruckclub.com is where you can learn all about that. 519, one of our favorite shows in Mono, Ontario. That's happening July 6th, 7th, 2024. You can go to 519loudandproud.com. We love that show. Missed it last year. Hoping to make it this year. So that's the one we're going to be at. Hamilton Transportation Club is having their barbecue, a networking barbecue, July 11th, 2024, Hamilton, Ontario. Details to be announced. Walcott Truckers Jamboree in Walcott, Iowa, July 11th to 13th, 2024. Iowa 80truckstop.com Trucker Jamboree. We were supposed to go to that one last year. We had to cancel at the last minute due to another issue, and we're not going to make it this year, but that's a good show from what I hear. Great Canadian Truck Show. That's our friends over Kevin Klein and their friends. Grand Bend, Ontario, July 20th, 21st, 2024. Check out their Facebook page, Great Canadian Truck Show, for more. That's at the Grand Bend Motorplex. So that's a pretty big show. They had about 100 trucks last year, 120. So there you go. Rodeo de Camion is August 1st to 4th, 2024. You can go to elrodeo.com festival online to learn all about that. The Grey County Truck Show's Southgate, Ontario. Last year was their first show. Haven't heard any more about that, so not sure if they're doing it again. But you can check out their Facebook page at Grey County Truck Show. St. Thomas Big Rigs National. This is one of our favorites. August 16th to 17th, 2024. St. Thomas Dragway.ca Big Rig Nationals. We will be there for sure. That is a fun time for sure. Athens Truck Show is usually the weekend after that. That's put on by the Antique Truck Club of America. That was a good one. We went last year. I was out in Brockville, Ontario. Not sure if we're going to make it out that way this year, but it was a really good show. Truck Driver Appreciation Week in Canada, September 2nd to 7th. And the Seaforth Truck Show usually is around the 10th of that from the Antique Truck Club. I haven't heard an announcement yet. Truck Driver Appreciation Week in the United States, September 9th to 16th, 2024. And the Special Olympics Truck Ride, September 13th, 14th, Paris, Ontario. It's going to be their 20th anniversary. This is going to be a big one. So go to truckride.ca. The Trucking Network a Mega Job Fair, September 21st at the Pearson Convention Center, Brampton, Ontario. Trucking Network Events.ca. Bridging the Barrier event in Mississauga. I couldn't find a date. I know they announced it, but I couldn't find the date. Anyway, look for that at the WTFC.ca. PMTC usually has a golf tournament in that area as well. Again, no date as of yet. 1040C, their truck display national monument, Fredericksburg, Virginia, is usually in that area too. Didn't see any dates for 2024. They just finished up 2023. Hamilton Transportation Club Industry Review, October 17th. That'll be in Hamilton, Ontario. Go to hamiltontransportationclub.com for more. Driver Check has their Fitness for Duty. That's going to be out west, I believe, out in Calgary. So that's October 22nd, 23rd. It was a virtual event this year. Fleet Safety Council will be in Brampton, Ontario. Haven't gotten a date yet for that. And Trucking Network Mega Job Fair at Woodstock, Ontario. They did one this year. I don't know if they're doing it again next year. TCA also had Bridging the Borders event. That was a good one we just had. It's in November. Haven't seen about next year. ISB Me didn't have anything this year. And then the Hamilton Transportation Club will have a Christmas networking event next December. So lots going on. As you know, we'll put these in the show notes for this episode if you want to click through and see about any of those shows. All right, my friends, that brings us to the end of another another show, another episode. Hey, join us next time to find out what happened to the Union 76 truck stops. I used to love those truck stops. And we'll see you on the other side. Hey, make sure you follow us. We got lots of stuff coming up for the new year, so keep following us. Oh, by the way, I got to tell you about some changes that happened as well. Before we get into all that other stuff, talking about radio, if you've got an Apple device, Apple has changed the way that they download podcasts. So go into your settings, especially for our show, and make sure that you download. If you haven't listened to a show within the last 15 days, they're stopping the downloads on it. So if you got our show regularly subscribed, make sure that you check it out at least every 15 days, listen to an episode, and you can go into your settings and turn it to whatever you want. Also, you'll see we've got some new shows on Lead Pedal Radio. That's right. We've got a new show called You're Not Done Yet, which happens on Mondays at noon. We've got a road show, which used to be LPR Live. It's now just our road show where we kind of do different trips with music. It's a lot of fun. And of course, our fan club show on Fridays. Sundays, we have a Tropical Days show from 2 to 5 and Monday Night Trivia. So lots of stuff going on. Check out Lead Pedal Radio. It's also got its own Instagram page now, so that's new. So check that out for sure. All right, where do you find us on the others? Well, you know what? We're on X, we're on LinkedIn, we're on TikTok, we're on YouTube. Catch us on your favorite podcast platform. So lots of places going on. So check us out and make sure that you're getting us wherever you get your favorite podcasts and music. All right, my friends, we'll talk to you later. Thanks for being on. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you later.
This has been another episode of the Lead Pedal Podcast. For more information or to subscribe to the podcast, visit theleadpedalpodcast.com and be sure to follow the podcast on Facebook and Twitter.